Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar titled Achieving Sustainable Excellence, the Role of Advanced Instrumentation in Chemical Manufacturing, and we're sponsored by Emerson. I'm Len Vermillion, Editor-in-Chief of Control Magazine. Now, our webinar has started, so if you cannot hear me speaking, please check and make sure that your computer mute button is turned off. If that's not it, please log off and log back in. And if you still cannot hear me after that or have any other difficulties, please contact our tech support by typing your text message in the question window on your screen, and one of our technical experts will assist you. Now, also please note, we recommend disabling any pop-up blocking software or extensions in your browser, as these can cause issues with the webinar player. And additionally, we're going to welcome your questions today. We will answer as many questions as possible during the Q&A session that will follow the main presentation. But please feel free to send your questions at any time. And to do so, all you have to do is simply type in your question in the question window on your screen and hit the submit button. Now, for today's copy of today's slides, you can refer to the event resources section on your screen. And also, please be aware that today's session is being recorded and will be available on our Control website within the next week. And you will be notified by email when the archive is available. So, with all that said, I'd like to introduce today's event moderator. Michael Machuca is Director of Chemical Industry Marketing at Emerson. And Michael, I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Thank you very much, and thank everyone for joining today's panel discussion on, how instrumentation can help improve sustainability and operational excellence in the chemical industry. So for today, the goal is to be more of a technical panel discussion, and so we want it to be an interactive forum where you can ask questions, about how measurement technologies can best be applied to solve some of the challenges that you're facing in your facilities. And so we have a panel of experts that are going to help us out. So to kick things off, I'm going to be more of a moderator. And what I'm going to do is give you guys a brief introduction for about 15 minutes on what challenges that we actually have been seeing in the chemical industry. And I'm also going to go through some of the common challenges we see with customers that they're facing when they're trying to select the right fit for purpose technology for the applications they're trying to solve. And then I'm going to go talk a little bit about how improved measurement best practices and digital transformation can help. But just before the panel discussion, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a new Coriolis product that we're actually going to be launching very shortly. And so hopefully while I'm talking, this will spur some questions in your minds, and you can submit those to our panelists. Here I'd just like to introduce our panelists. We've got, a great team of experts here. Our first panelist is Marty McDonough. He's our senior chemical BDM for North America. And Marty's got, 19 years of experience in Emerson, so a great resource to ask questions to. Next, we have Don Frigiletti. He's our vice president of the chemical industry for Emerson, and Don's been with Emerson for 29 years. And then we have Antonio Carlos Fernandez. Antonio is our director of Coriolis density and viscosity and ultrasonic meters, and he's been with Emerson for 12 years. So you win a lot of experience here. When you add it all up, that's about 60 years of experience. I've been with the company for 18 years, so that's about 78 years. So we're looking forward to your questions. Be sure to take advantage of our panelists here. So to kind of kick things off a bit, I'm going to talk about some of the operational challenges that we've been hearing from a lot of chemical manufacturers, and the main ones that we hear a lot are around safety, production, sustainability, and maintenance and reliability. On the safety side, chemical plants, they deal with a lot of, dangerous, flammable, potentially toxic chemicals. There might be high pressures. And if you have any kind of abnormal process conditions, that can cause a safety incident. So there are a lot of, measurement best practices that can help, ensure that you have a safe plant and you don't have a safety incident. Just a couple of examples, corrosion monitoring, gas detection, looking at instrument diagnostics can help. You've got pressure measurements, flow measurements, temperature, and oftentimes you might need safety SIL rated devices, which are also available for your safety instrumentation system. So on the production side, process engineers, they're always looking to try to safely get the most production out of their plant, but there's always challenges, managing the process to get the most yield out of the facility. And you can see a lot of examples of what some of those challenges are on the screen here. Outside safety, probably the most talked about and the biggest challenge that we're seeing a lot of now is around sustainability. Almost everyone we talk to has some sort of net zero target, or they're looking to reduce their energy and emissions. They have reduction targets in place. Plastic manufacturers often have circularity targets where they're trying to reduce, the impact of plastic waste in the environment, or just reduce their carbon footprint. So there are a lot of measurement best practices that we can suggest that can have a direct impact on optimizing the process. So you can reduce your energy intensity and identify waste, or even help you comply with environmental reporting regulations. Last around the list here is around maintenance and reliability. So having poor maintenance, excessive maintenance, or poor reliability can really negatively impact production and the bottom line in any facility. And there's a lot of mechanical equipment that can easily break down. And here's where wireless technologies and actually improving analytics are really a good option to proactively prevent equipment failures, or to proactively schedule maintenance when that's needed. So to manage all of these challenges, what we're seeing is a lot of interest in digital solutions, and how those can be used to improve your work practices, make better decisions to optimize all parts of the process. So a lot of chemical plant operators are looking, how can we leverage digital transformation solutions, looking to automate tasks to help empower workers to drive even more value. But all this starts with having better information on how the process is running, and you need improved measurement and data and analytics to do that. And that's what we're going to kind of focus on today, is how can you improve your measurements and select the right technology for the application. So I mentioned digital transformation. So when we look at digital transformation from an Emerson perspective, we tend to focus on the model that you see on the left. It's we call it the see, decide, and act model, which helps you optimize the operation. So, but to do that, you need sensors and a way to visualize the data. And then with that data, predictive diagnostics and monitoring can come into play, and that can help you improve your reliability. And then you also have the control system, and that helps you ensure you've got safe and reliable operations, and everything's operating in the optimal manner. And then using some of the modeling and AI analytics, you can use those to optimize your performance. And in case you haven't heard, one of the things that Emerson has done recently is we formed a strategic alliance with AspenTech, and that allowed us to add all of the modeling and AI analytics capabilities to our portfolio. So, and we could talk all day about digital transformation and the different models and best practices, but for the purposes of this panel discussion, I mentioned in the beginning, we have measurement experts, that we're going to leverage here. And so we're going to focus on the sensing portion of the model. And because, if you can't see what's really going on in your process, because you don't have, the right measurements, you won't have the information that you need to decide and act on and optimize. So, and there are a lot of challenges with selecting the right measurement technologies to get that information that you need to optimize the process. So we're gonna focus on some of those. So here, here's a list of when that we've kind of come up with that we hear most often that are challenges when trying to select the right instrument, the right measurement technology. It's not straightforward, and it requires a lot of information. You can see some of these requirements on the screen, and this isn't even a comprehensive list. These are just some of the most common things that you'll need. And for example, not all technologies work with all the process fluids, depending if it's a liquid or a gas or at a different phase, two-phase flow, for example. You might have some instrumentation challenges with, maybe there's minimal space requirement. Some measurements might be used for billing or, custody transfer. So you might have very strict requirements in those cases. And maybe there's price constraints, special material, maybe you don't have wiring or power. So a lot of different things, considerations come into play. And sometimes, for example, you might need a safety loop. That measurement is part of that, which might need SIL certification. And so there are a lot of technologies to choose from. And in some cases, there's even different tiers within those technology. For example, our Coriolis flow meters, we have 3 tiers within that, depending on the measurement performance requirements you need. Our pressure line also has 3 tiers, so does our temperature line. So it can be a challenge to select the right measurement technology for that application and find one that's the most fit for purpose to meet your application requirements. So, we recommend, when you're working with somebody, find somebody that can help you make that selection easier, and their technologies are flexible, which is what we have been, making a lot of investments in some of our digital tools to help make this process easier, and also, providing that level of expertise. So as you look at a lot of these challenges, I'm sure many of you on the call have probably encountered a lot of them. So, be sure to share some of those challenges you might have, in the chat. Ask us questions, and we can help try to address as many of them as possible. So, I mentioned, when picking a supplier, one thing to consider is their portfolio, to try to make sure that they can, cover all the different choices that are out there. And, you can see here, we do have a pretty extensive offering. We also have a measurement solutions and systems group that can provide, complete systems and software also, with analytics like Plantwood Insight, and I mentioned our alliance with AspenTech. So, and also look at, what kind of software, that might be available to help you select the right instrument. We have a site called My Emerson, and that has all of our sizing and all of our selection software. It's all loaded in one spot. It's, free to use. All you have to do is, sign up for an account. Makes things a lot easier for selecting the right technology. And of course, you can always consult with us on, and we can help. So, I'm not going to go through every single instrument here, but one of the technologies I would like to talk a little bit about is the investments we've been making in our Coriolis portfolio. We've actually have a new product that we're about to launch, and this is really going to allow it simplify the portfolio, make it easier to apply Coriolis technology in a lot of different applications. So, so this is within our Coriolis family of products. We're pretty excited that we're about to launch our G series platform, and we have just recently launched a new transmitter, our 4700 transmitter. And what we're showing here on this slide is, we've got, price on the vertical axis and performance on the horizontal. So what we're trying to do here is offering, more of a tiered approach to allow users to scale, the performance that they need versus the price of the product. So the G series is, it's a new product. It's the ultra compact Coriolis meter. It was specifically designed for more general purpose type of applications. So, if you need a bit of higher performance, we have our F series. And then for the most demanding application, we have the Elite series. So you wouldn't want to use a G on a custody transfer measurement or maybe a concentration measurement. You'd probably go to the higher tier portfolio. And so for more critical process control applications, say you've got wider turn down, but maybe it's not custody transfer, that's where you would probably want to use the F series Coriolis meter. There's also some scalability in our transmitter platform as well. The 1600 is our basic compact transmitter, with the 4700 is our new mid-tier transmitter, and then we have the 4200, which is a 2-wire option, which makes it really easy to retrofit existing installations that are 2-wire if you want to upgrade to, say, Coriolis technology. Then after the 57, and then we also have the 5700 transmitter, which has the maximum data processing power, flexible I/O, and one of the things that we've done just to make this a lot easier is we actually have many of the features are software licensable. So if you want to add a feature, you can simply license it after the fact, and you don't have to change out any hardware. And also, any transmitter can be used with any sensor. So, with the new G series sensor, this makes it, much more economical to get the benefits of, Coriolis technology if you're looking for direct mass measurement and you want density measurement, and where perhaps you don't need the performance, of an F or an Elite meter. And, because traditionally, Coriolis meters, they've been a premium product, and they're still a premium product, but and with the G series now, that opens up the technology to a lot more applications when you're comparing that to other, traditional technologies. So this is just a little bit more on, the details on the G series with our 4700 transmitter. You can see some of the features on the screen. So like I mentioned, it was specifically designed for more of a general purpose applications, at a lower cost. It has the smallest footprint on the market currently, which really allows you to minimize, your space and weight requirements, makes it much easier to install, and lowers the total cost. So, and like I said, it's compatible with all the micromotion transmitters. You have all the same diagnostic tools that are available on the other sensors, like smart meter verification. Also mentioned, with the new 4700 transmitter, we've got a Bluetooth for configuration, and you can get device status and all the diagnostics access. So we're pretty excited about this new product that'll be coming out shortly. What I thought I'd do next is maybe just show an example of some of the challenges that you might have when you're trying to select the right technology. And so what we're going to do is just kind of go through this example of a reactor. And this is, application typically where customers really do value, direct mass measurement, because they want to do a mass balance across the reactor to understand their efficiency. So you've got a lot of inputs coming into the reactor, catalysts, maybe just transfers from the plant, reactants, the solute, perhaps steam for heating. So, what would we recommend to make sure that you get the most, economical solution, the most valuable solution to optimize this process? So starting with the catalyst, catalysts are typically high value. There might have low flow rates or high flow rates. The turn down needs to be very high. And because of that, typically, this would be an application where we would recommend you go with an Elite Coriolis meter, because it has the best measurement performance to optimize, the catalyst injection into the reactor. So, looking at, transferring fluids from, within the plant, to different locations in the plant to the reactor. This is typically an application where perhaps, accuracy isn't critical, but you know the benefits of mass measurement are make it a lot easier. This would be a great application where you might want to apply the G series Coriolis meter for this to get the most economical solution. Looking at the reactants, the different ingredients that are going into the reactor. Typically, this is an important measurement. Mass is important here, but you might not need the performance that the catalyst needs. So this would be a good application for perhaps for the F series, which is the mid-tier solution. And then say you've got a solvent that might have, usually those have could be corrosive in nature or have special material requirements. And this is where, because of those material compatibility issues, a magnetic flow meter comes with a liner, so you can isolate the metal from the process, allowing for a more economical solution that's still very highly accurate. So a magnetic flow meter might be, an ideal solution for this application. And then, if you need to, apply heat to the reactor, steam is often used. And here, we would likely recommend a vortex meter or a DP flow meter, just depending on the application requirements. And there's a lot of advantages of both technologies, and we could help, you pick the right one. And then, last here for final product, perhaps it's going to a loading application, and this is typically a custody transfer application, and this is where we would recommend, an elite Coriolis meter, which would be a great solution. So now that we've kind of gone through some examples, we're going to kind of start our, our panel discussion. So be sure to, if this, hopefully that kind of spurred some questions in your mind. So please, go ahead and submit any questions that you might have for our team of experts, in the chat. And just to kick things off, what I'm going to do is we'll start with just a poll for the audience. And so just when you, let me click here. We've got a poll here that we'd like you guys to answer, and then our experts are going to give, their opinions. So if you could just answer, what challenges, with instrumentation have you all experienced in the audience? So pick, pick your top challenge, and we'd like to help us, start the conversation. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to answer the question here. I see a lot of results coming in. Just give it a couple more seconds. So be sure to send in your results. Okay, let's. I'm going to go ahead and send the results out to the team. Okay, hopefully you guys can see those. So I guess I'll open it up to our panelists. As you look at the results on the poll here, what are your thoughts?
So
I would say
from my side, go ahead.
Go ahead, no, go ahead, Antonio. Go ahead.
No, so I have seen the three feedback. The biggest answer we received is choosing the right technology. The second one is the cost justification, and the other one is sizing and I'm not surprised at all. So I'm not surprised at all on those answers. And I think that's the three main factor that we always have in front of our customers. No? And when we think about technology selection, it's not that easy to select that, because we need to, I think you need to ask yourself always three type of question. The why are you measuring? So with what type of application are you measuring? Like if it's custody transfer or safety or control or I don't know, monitoring, optimization. That would be the first question I would ask myself. The second question I would ask myself, it will be the what. So what type of measurement? Which fluid are you going to measure? If it's gas, liquid, or two phase, or or the process condition as well. And finally, you should always think about what do you prefer? Which type of accuracy are you looking? Which type of performance? What is the installation? The constraint in the installation? Do you need also some I don't know, diagnostic connectivity? The cost is linked to that, because when you start choosing a technology, you also need to think about the cost, of course. And depending on that, that's why we have this type of, let's say, tiering, and it's across the whole portfolio, not only Coriolis as we showed just before, but across all the portfolio. That would be my whole feedback. So it's not that easy. So I would always recommend to think about those three main points: application, process, and preferences.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I think you did great, Antonio. I would say the same thing. Some of those things occasionally, those other ones that people pick are a little further down the line, but I think that the main three are what I was thinking would be chosen.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We have one more poll question, and then I see some questions coming in from the audience, so then I'll get to those. Okay. Next. When you're selecting a particular technology, do you consider price versus performance to ensure you're selecting the right level of product? You know, we gave Coriolis as an example where we have multiple tiers, but we also, on most of our portfolio, we have different tiers of products. So just got a couple of seconds, and then we'll discuss it, and then we'll get to the Q&A that's coming in. Okay. Here we go. I'll just go ahead and send the results there. It seemed to be trending at like 75% yes, 25% no. Any comments from the panelists? Oh, wait a minute, I didn't hit send. Sorry.
I don't think so. I think we would have expected it to be somewhere in that range. Most people need to consider price when they're looking at these applications. And to Antonio's point, that purpose of the measurement is really key. But you also have to understand, what's going to be successful to get the performance you need. And I think, from my perspective, that's where you go, and you'll see three out of four of the times you're going to have to go back and forth between price versus performance.
Yep. Okay. So I've got a question here. The question is, since we are on the cusp of Industry 5.0 and AI, do we have any examples of how Emerson will use AI to deliver prescriptive analytics? Sorry.
I can take that one on, and actually I'll talk about just reliability and the direction in general. So when you look at, analytics, and you can look at them whether it's from a unit operation, let's say a reactor, or you're talking about, something as focused as a heat exchanger or a pump or a compressor. I mean, really today, if you've looked at how things have evolved, I mean, we've moved from kind of, you know what the measurements are, you know what the problems are, and if you see those problems, you need to do something. Then I think over time, where the industry has gone is, they've taken it to where you have more advanced packages that give you some detailed information that allow you to do and look at a greater set of the data set in order to determine exactly what's going on and have a better understanding of what's influencing the impact on that unit operations or that device. Let's say a heat exchanger, and you have variability of your process. Or all of a sudden you have some level of fouling and you're trying to figure out why you've seen an increase in the fouling of your heat exchanger. And so I think as that has gone on, both ourselves and others have developed packages that look at not just one tier or two tiers, but look at the whole range of being able to, provide those analytics as an organization, all the way to, also improving the actual performance of that unit operation. So, if you take a heat exchanger, you take a pump, and you recognize that there are process conditions that are occurring downstream. Technology or software like AspenTech actually allows you to take those process changes, model what's going on within that particular device, and then modify how you're using that device, to either optimize the longevity of how that device, is used in between your actual, plant shutdowns, or to do something, as extensive as optimize the energy usage, whether it's the compressor or pump or heat exchanger. But again, that also goes to larger process units when you're looking at reactors or distillation columns and those type of things. So today, ourselves, I mean, we've, with our partnership with AspenTech, I mean, that has expanded our capabilities along the entire range. But I mean, you can find that across the industry and those capabilities also.
Yeah. Thanks, Don. Anybody have anything to add? Or we can go on to the next question. Okay. So here's a question. Are there material options on the G series for the food and beverage industry?
So I can take this one. When I guess material means, I guess, process connection, I guess. I want to guess that. And if it's process connection or certificates, I would say process connection, yes, we'll have 3 clamp and all type of process connection for the food and beverage and also the life science industry. And for the certificates, we'll also, it's also on the funnel that will have certificates like EHEDG and 3A for the G series in the future as well. I don't know if I answered the question.
I think so. Let's see. I'll ask. I see another question here. We talked a lot about or introduced sustainability, and someone's asked, do we have any examples of where we've used, instrumentation to help in sustainability initiatives?
Yeah, I guess I can take that one also. So when you're out and and I'm out in front of a lot of customers in the chemical industry. And really, I think probably no surprise to people on this call. I mean, there's three basic things, or actually four really, that people spend a lot of time talking about. Energy intensity is probably, number one, because it's probably the easiest thing for sustainability initiative on, in addition to that, I mean, it also ties to two of the others, which would be your carbon intensity, since there's a direct relationship between your carbon production and energy in many cases with combustion, but it's also with your waste intensity as people are trying to optimize their unit operations. And so, it is interesting because, as much as things like combustion is something that has been, explored and looked at for years, I mean, you do find simple things as such as looking at your air to fuel ratio, and if people have changing composition of their fuels, I mean, changing and looking at the technology, say Coriolis, or even, if it's advanced and you've got a large, furnace, you might actually go all the way to, putting a gas analyzer. But your ability to more quickly sit there and adjust your air to fuel ratio based on your changing fuel composition can not only save you, some significant money when it comes to, the energy, but can also reduce your CO2. I think many people have probably moved to using oxygen analyzers, as a feedback mechanism. So that's another thing. But on top of that, it could be something as simple as, how much are you losing because you've got bad steam traps, and are you monitoring those steam traps, and are you addressing the issues? I mean, we see in some cases as much as 30% of the steam traps having problems. So energy, there's a lot of opportunity, especially in the steam system and the combustion system. On the waste, I mean, as people have started to move towards, trying to speed up their processes, but also, looking at, getting closer to their stoichiometric perfect solution, or even doing, something as, simple as, doing a better job at recycling and reusing their product. I mean, having better measurements, and I actually saw another question specific to like batches, and I think it had to do with the use of AI. So when you look at, waste intensity and you look at batches, I mean, there's a significant opportunity. And yes, I mean, today, when you look at our relationship and our partnership with Aspen Tech, there is no question from, the ability to better predict if you have changing composition of your products coming in or changing characteristics of that process, and especially when you're looking at a catalytic reactor. I mean, the use of tools and your AI and using analytics better, allow you to optimize that process. And the other thing I think is, I mean, when we talk, about batching, some of it is also just to be able to know you're getting the measurement right the first time, and that's where Coriolis helps. Having online, data to tell you how your batch is actually improved. And if you don't do an analyzer, the second thing that software can do today in many cases is they can take and do soft measurements, where you can combine some of the other measurements that you have around the actual reactor, and you can determine, actually the output, or make some, good, not guesses, but, good decisions, based on a number of other measurements, even if you're not able to get the specific measurement you're looking for. So, waste intensity is significant. And then the last one is carbon intensity, and there, whether you're trying to improve, your amine treating, on an absorber, or the pressure swing or vacuum swing absorption, again, to try and capture that CO2. If you're producing hydrogen the old-fashioned way, your measurements are critical to optimize that. Especially when you're talking about the pressure swing or vacuum swing absorption and trying to control that. But as you move down, it's recognizing, choosing the right technology based on, standards that are still being developed, I think is critical, on whether it's a liquid, a gas, or whether it's supercritical CO2. So there's just a lot of complexity as you look at, what you can do today, but recognizing that most of the things that, at least from a measurement perspective, we have the capability of doing, not just as an organization, but in the industry, to really drive these opportunities in sustainability.
Yeah, thank you, Don. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add to Don's comments before we go on to the next question?
I would just say Michael, that, you mentioned wireless as being something at the front end on reliability. We also see it in the, making it allows us to get to measurements that we couldn't do before. And that actually has a place on the sustainability side. We're doing a lot of steam trap monitoring and things like PRV monitoring that, are really helping our customers, specifically in chemical this year. And so, again, not only are these wireless instruments, but even down the road with things like non-intrusive instrumentation. So that's all. Just was thinking of that as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point, and it kind of, you mentioned non-intrusive instrumentation, Marty, and there was a question about our acquisition of Flexum. I don't know if anybody wanted to have any comments on that, since you kind of brought up the non-intrusive.
Well, I think it really helps, our whole portfolio. We're extremely excited about it, especially in the flow world. There are many applications that we didn't have the fit for purpose. Things like extremely high temperatures and pressures, large line sizes, and so the Flexum portfolio will really help us with that. And obviously that whole non-intrusive really lends itself to helping our customers, especially on the backside of trying to, make sure a plant is running correctly. And quite often when you don't have the chance to design this stuff in, you need flexible solutions. And this is certainly that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Marty. So there's a couple of people have asked, that are, familiar with our portfolio. They know we have the R series, and they're asking, is the R series going to disappear? Is the G series replacing that? Just wondering if someone on the panel might want to address that.
Yes, I can definitely. So today, no. Today, no, the R series will remain there, but in the long term, the idea, yes, in the long term. I mean, you also need to, let's say the R series, the G series anyway, it will be easy to replace the R series with the G series, because it has better performance, and also the face-to-face will be way shorter. So you will be able to replace it in the long term without an issue. But right now, it's not discontinued at all, so it's there. We are not going to remove it now.
Yep. Okay. There's another question, and is the G series compatible with all transmitter models? And I think we talked about that. And yes, it is. I can go ahead and answer that one myself. That it is compatible with all the transmitter models.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. It is important to remember that the new concept is really that you have, if you know our family of products, so GF, CMF will be compatible with all the family of transmitter. So the low tier to the high tier. So the 1600, 4700, 4200. So 4 wires, 2 wires, and also the 5700. So everything will be compatible with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. So what are some of the things that we are doing from to simplify, electronics and some of the configuration capabilities that we have?
I can take this one as well, if you want.
Thanks, Antonio. Yeah.
You look excited.
So, yeah, I'm excited with this one, definitely. So, I would say that we are really the portfolio of electronics to simplify the life of the customers. First, to the platform. So you will have one platform, very similar, big displays, easy to manage. That's one. Second one is you will have 4 wires and 2 wires. The platform between, for example, the 47 and 4200 is exactly the same. Okay, exactly the same. Then, from a configuration perspective, we are going to add Bluetooth. So we will have Bluetooth with the 4700, Bluetooth with the 1600. So that will be also it will easier the life of a lot of people. And I would say the most beneficial thing is here to simplify is it will also simplify your inventory, because the point is that everything is licensable. So if you don't want to pay for all the outputs, you only pay for one. But if you need to add it later on, because today you only need to measure mass, but tomorrow you need to have the volume, the density or temperature of the Coriolis, you can do it later on. So you don't pay today, but tomorrow if you want, you just put it. Or if you want a diagnostic and you want to add it later on, the same. You can also enable it in the future.
Nice. Yep. Thank you, Antonio. There's another question here. Can we use all flow meters? I'm not sure what they mean by all, if they're just talking Coriolis or any flow meter, in the vertical position so they are self-draining in the biofarm industry.
Coriolis, yes. All the family of Coriolis, yes. This for sure. Then for the rest, it's not. No. For the rest, no. Their technology cannot be self-drainable. But the Coriolis, yes, definitely. Right. At least our Coriolis, yes.
Okay, let me look at these other questions. Here's one. Have you seen or worked with customers that are developing initiatives focused on reliability of the instruments themselves, such as life cycle management?
I think I understand what this question is, and the answer, is, I mean, and just let me state what I believe the question is, and if the individual feels that it's different than the one I'm answering, then please don't hesitate to call. But if you look at the reliability of the instrument itself, and I mean, and to some degree, I mean, this isn't dissimilar or different than even a lot of the metrics that come into place around safety, and that is, from an organization as you look at it, and I guess you could say there's 2 levels. I mean, one is the device itself, and then the other is the performance or the uncertainty of that device and the ability for that to be reliable over time. And the answer is, yes, we are developing initiatives that are focused on both. One, that allows you to better understand the the long-term reliability or stability of that device and the uncertainty of that measurement over time. And I think, and there's a number of things. I mean, some of that plays into the diagnostics that are coming out. Some of it plays into software that the equipment ties to. And so I think that's one part, and then the other part is just the data and the history of the devices themselves. And again, I think a lot of that comes down to some of the information that's collected and stored about the devices. But I'm just trying to get a little bit more clarity on what exactly that question is, a little bit more information on it. But the answer is, we do initiatives around reliability, and there are a number of things that are going on today specific to the device itself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think of things that, a lot of the products that, come with it.
Right.
Yeah. The diagnostics. Yeah. Smart meter verification. So, when there's an issue with the device, and all of the calculations that we do for SIL certifications, looking at all the dangerous, the undetected failures and minimizing those. And so I think it's something that's looked at, from the very beginning and throughout the design. Impulse line plugging, all of those different things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of the instruments today, and whether it's level or whether it's flow devices or whether it's pressure transmitters. I mean, a lot of the devices today, have self-diagnostics that look at the electronics, look at the connection between the sensing unit and the actual transmitter component of those, and collects that data over time to look at that stability of that product. So there are a lot of initiatives around, how do you continue to improve and evolve those diagnostic components that allow you to get the confidence of the reliability of that device over time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I got another question here. In terms of instrument data and reliability, the ultra compact, the Micromotion G series Coriolis sensor with the 4700, does it come with the same messages and alarms that the rest of the Micromotion family has?
The answer is, I can take this one. And the answer is yes. I mean, I guess, because I don't know what message or alarms we are talking specifically, but it's the same platform. So it's based on the same platform. So the answer is totally a yes. It's not going to change. Either you have a F or G or CMF with 47, you will have the same type of message and alarms that you can find also on the 57 or the 1600.
Thank you, Antonio. Another question on the G series. Does the G series is it certified for classified areas? Certifications for classified areas?
Yes. It will be classified for all the areas with ATEX, CSA, ES6. So yes, it will be definitely classified, and we'll have all these approvals.
Okay, there's another question around the pressure drop on the G series compared to the competition. Is there any comments there from the team?
I cannot really answer this one like this, because at the end, what we'll need to do to check that is to do sizing. Okay, and we'll need to do sizing and check online depending on the application, and compare. I cannot say exactly the pressure drop there compared to the competition. I didn't do the exercise yet, but I don't. I mean, so it really depends. So I would say there we need to check on case by case depending on the process data.
Okay. I think we addressed this, but someone is asking if we have Bluetooth communication. But, you know, the answer is yes on the 4700 transmitter. It has Bluetooth.
It will. I mean, it will be launched. So we have launched the 4700, but the Bluetooth will be available by the end of this calendar year.
But across our product lines, I mean, whether it's our pressure transmitter, whether it's our radar level,
We have it.
you know, we have Bluetooth K product line.
Okay. Yeah, we probably only have time for a couple more questions, but there's one here on the G series. Any chance the new G series is the same face-to-face as the old D series? And I think the answer is it's not the same face-to-face, but I'll let Antonio answer that. As our
It's not
expert.
the same face. No, it's not the same face-to-face. I would need to check the D series because it's pretty old. But so I will need to check this one. But the G series will be ready. So it will be ultra compact. So in theory, you can replace it. But I cannot say you can replace it without, of course. I always say you always need to check what is the application.
Mm-hmm.
No, or pretty challenging, and maybe you cannot do that with G, and you need to go for F or CMF. So G, remember, G is the low tier. It's for general purpose application, standard application. You will have some limitations. So there we need to check. We need to check on what are you measuring with the D series. But from a face-to-face perspective, I'm not going to say I'm almost 100%, let's say, convinced that it will be shorter than the D, but it needs to be checked because D is a really old one.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I think we're running up on the hour, and I know our moderator here needs a few minutes to make his closing remarks. Sorry, did you have something to say, Don?
Yeah, one other quick thing, because there were some questions that were out there that my guess is we couldn't answer. And so what we'll have to do is, I mean, we need to get back on some of these and we'll take some of those individually and get back to you individually with the answers and the response when we have them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have all the questions logged. If we, because of the time constraints.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be able to
get back to the email.
Get back to the ones that we're not answering so far. Okay. So with that, I can turn it back over to.
All right. Thank you, Michael. That does conclude today's presentation. Before you go, please remember to take our exit survey at the conclusion of this broadcast. And on behalf of Control, I'd like to thank Emerson for sponsoring today's event, and of course, all of you for joining. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.